that keys are to the glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. Welcome to the show, everyone. Is Sam Darnold set to debut? Now, of course, I don't know if you haven't heard this by now. Most people have. But Brock Purdy has entered concussion protocol. So after the game on Sunday, they were on Monday, they were on their flight back, and Brock Purdy started having concussion-like symptoms. When that happened, they had to give him tested, and yes, now he's in concussion protocol. It could be tough for Brock Purdy to be able to clear concussion protocol in time for the game on Sunday against the Cincinnati Bengals. So what does that mean? It could mean that we get our first look at Sam Darnold in the regular season as the 49ers backup quarterback. Brock Purdy has done a great job this year. His stats have been through the roof, and he's led this 49ers team to a lot of victories, and he's looked impressive doing it. If you go back and you look at this game, there is a clear play that appears to see Brock Purdy's head affected. It's on a 3rd and 1 quarterback sneak. He's hit helmet to helmet by Hicks, the linebacker from Minnesota. His head cracks back. And after that, the 49ers go quarterback sneak. But then the next two throws, or the next throw that he makes, is an interception intended for Jawan Jennings, where it appears the ball is just off. Could it have had some effect on what Brock Purdy was doing? Could the concussions have ultimately affected how good he played at the end of that game? I think it's entirely possible. I think it was not the norm to see Brock Purdy with the look on his face that he had, or operating the way that he did as far as making those kinds of mistakes. Those are not Brock Purdy kinds of mistakes. So to say that he had the concussion before those last two interceptions, I think could be really accurate. And really, he's taking care of the football so good this year, it would make sense that it was his mental that was affected by the hit that ultimately led to him making some mistakes. So what do you do with Sam Darnold at the helm? You know, how do you go about helping Sam Darnold, have the potential to beat the Cincinnati Bengals? Well, I don't think you switch it up a whole lot. You brought Sam Darnold in because he has the similar characteristics and traits that you want from a quarterback fitting inside this system. So, I mean, that's the thing. You like what Darnold can do inside the system. We've seen the 49ers really appreciate his skill set and the fact that he can still do the things that he needs to do as far as completing passes and getting the ball out to his receivers. And that's what a lot of the reliance is going to be with Sam Darnold at the helm. There's going to be reliance on the players around to make plays, no different than any other quarterback that the 49ers bring in there. Kyle Shanahan schemes it up, and the quarterback's got to go out there and act like a point guard. The main thing for Sam Darnold is he can't try to go out there and play Superman. He can't try to go out there and win the football game for the 49ers. He needs to let the game come to him. That's one thing I did see during the preseason, is it really felt like Sam Darnold was going through and making the proper reads and trying to get rid of the football. First and second read were where he really liked to go with. If the first read's open, he gets rid of the football very quickly to the man that needs to get the ball. So that could have a positive effect on the 49ers offensive line, which is great because Cincinnati Bengals are bringing in Hendrickson and a pretty good defensive line to bring pressure onto the 49ers quarterback. So Sam Darnold is going to have to make sure that he is able to go through his reads and get rid of the football quickly. Not to mention the way that these teams the last 2 weeks have been going in to stop Christian McCaffrey in the run game. There's probably going to be some times where he's going to have to make some big-time throws. He's going to have to convert at a high level. Brock Purdy has made that the norm. The 49ers are one of the best on third down in the entire league. They converted over 45%. And the reason is because they get third and manageable, and then Brock Purdy executes at a high level, gets the ball to his playmakers, and they get first downs. That's what Darnold's tasked to doing. I think the big difference between what we've seen throughout the years as far as changes from quarterback, whether that was going from Jimmy to Trey or from Trey to Jimmy, they had a different skill set. The things that you wanted to do in the offense were a little bit different. When you look at Sam Darnold compared to Brock Purdy, they both can do the same things. I think the interesting part about it is I think Brock Purdy's elite skill that he has is between his ears. He can read and process information at such a high level that it helps him go through the progressions and go through what Kyle Shanahan wants him to do and get the ball where it needs to be with anticipation. With Sam Darnold, I'm not sure that's where his elite skill is, but his elite skill is he has a tremendous arm. He has a lot of athletic ability. He has size. If you were going to pick and draft a prototypical quarterback, you would pick the size, the speed, the arm strength of Sam Darnold over Brock Purdy. What we've seen, though, is that's not what it's all about when playing quarterback. The question is, can we get Sam Darnold to where he needs to be? Has Brian Griese and everybody else who's been consistently working with Sam Darnold got him up to speed in Kyle Shanahan's offense that he can start going through these reads and making the necessary reads that he needs to make? One thing we know, he's seen almost every single defensive look in his career in the NFL. Through starting with the Jets and starting with Carolina, he's seen everything teams throw at him, from blitz packages to different coverages. He can definitely be able to read pre-snap and figure out exactly how people are trying to line up against him. Problem has always been post-snap. What happens when they change it up? What happens when they get pressure on him? That's when you worry about Sam Darnold's effectiveness within this offense. I think the 49ers are going to go out there and try to make it easier on Sam Darnold. Quick throws, getting the run game going, making things a little bit easier for Sam Darnold and taking the pressure off. When you look at Sam Darnold's stats last year, he played 6 games for the Carolina Panthers, and he completed passes at a 58.6 rate. That's not really that great. Brock Purdy's completing at 67, almost 68% on the season, so that is a 10-point difference between the two. You wish that Sam Darnold could be more accurate. Maybe he will be playing under Kyle Shanahan, but I think it's something to be concerned about. As far as yards go, he had 1143 in those games. I think that's pretty adequate. Nothing crazy for 6 games. Brock Purdy would have been plus 200 in that category through 6 games, just to give you kind of a marker of Brock Purdy compared to Sam Darnold last year, where Brock Purdy had thrown 10 touchdowns through 6 games. Sam Darnold threw 7 last year. So not a huge difference. Definitely not the weapons in Carolina or the play caller that Kyle Shanahan is. But the good news is he only threw 3 interceptions in those 6 games. Brock Purdy, through 7 games, threw 3 interceptions, but 1 before. But a 2-to-1 ratio for Sam Darnold as far as touchdown to interceptions is a good ratio in the NFL. So that is a positive. And then he was sacked 10 times, which is actually less times than what Brock Purdy was sacked in his 6 games this season. So only by 1, but it's really, really close. But his quarterback rating, Sam Darnold at 92.6, where Brock Purdy's well over 100. In fact, through 6 games, he's 111 quarterback rating. So Brock has definitely played at a more efficient, better rate this season through the first 6 games, now 7, than Sam Darnold did last year in Carolina. Of course, the cast of characters is different. The play caller is different. There's a lot of things that play into it, but you can kind of see Sam Darnold played at least pretty well down the stretch for Carolina and got them near the opportunity to make the playoffs. So 49ers need to make sure they establish a run game. It's not going to be easy. Losing Brock Purdy potentially could put you behind the 8 ball, and you don't want to end up 5-3 after this Bengals game going into your bye. Yeah, the bye would give you plenty of time to get Brock Purdy back and get healthy, but you got a really tough schedule waiting for you on the other side. So will Brock Purdy be able to play in this game? I don't know. I do know Kyle Shanahan is leaving the door open for that possibility. Brock Purdy, out there for walkthroughs. They're going to see how he progresses. As the week progresses, if we start hearing Brock Purdy's in a blue jersey on Friday or Saturday, mainly Friday, potentially there's an opportunity for Brock Purdy to clear protocol and get out there on the field. But there is a likelihood that Darnold is going to debut in this game. That Darnold opportunity is here. And let's see what the 49ers were thinking. They went out and they wanted to make sure they got a quarterback they felt was competent and capable of stepping in case of an injury to Brock Purdy. In this case, not a significant injury as far as time he will miss, but a significant part in the season in which you have to win this football game after dropping the last 2 games. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on Sam Darnold to step in. The 49ers and their weapons can take the pressure off. The defense can also take some of the pressure off by limiting the effectiveness of the Cincinnati Bengals offense. That's not going to be easy. So that's the big news that's coming out from Santa Clara. Brock Purdy and concussion protocol. Sam Darnold right now, the most likely of the two to start if you had Vegas odds involved in this thing. So it could be our first look at Sam Darnold playing within Kyle Shanahan's offense with a full week to game plan, a full week of practice under his belt with those first-team reps. We'll see what happens. You got to roll with the punches in some of these situations, and they're going to have to roll in this. So as the week progresses, we'll get more into what this means for Sam Darnold, the effect it's going to have on the offense as they look to take on the Cincinnati Bengals and continue to monitor the progress of Brock Purdy. We wish Brock Purdy will get well quickly, be able to return and help his football team. But until then, the 49ers have to pick him up, and that could mean his backup quarterback picking him up and winning a football game for this team in Sam Darnold. So that's what's coming down. Thank you guys for checking in. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Until then, stay safe. And remember, the right way is always the 49ers.